Hello everyone, I am Sandeep Kumar. In this video, I will be running through an advanced API mocking tool. In my experience leading engineering teams, I have seen one consistent challenge in every project, which is nothing but backend dependency. Let's see few challenges of API dependencies. Infrastructure may not be ready. API development could be in progress. Sometimes, deployment takes more time than expected. And even lack of test data can impact dev testing. In these situations, almost every development team relies on local mock APIs to test their features. Everything seems fine until it's not. A tiny mismatch, maybe a wrong data type, or a slight difference in the object structure. It looks harmless at first, but later it shows up as a defect, costing valuable time, extra effort, and putting a dent on both quality and productivity of the development team. Not fair, right? Even I don't like it. That's the kind of problem I'm going to address in this video. With an idea that could change the way we test, build, and ship the apps faster than ever. Imagine, what if the mock API could respond like a real service? What if it could validate requests, simulate user flows, and respond based on real conditions? What if I tell you we can do all this without writing a single line of backend code? That's the kind of mocking tool which I do actually enjoy my team using. That's why I decided to build one, that is SmartMock. SmartMock is a tool that takes the dev testing to the next level in such a way that dev team can focus more on productivity, building apps rather than troubleshooting. Let's see how SmartMock API takes API mocking to next level in simpler and smarter than ever. SmartMock is a Java-based application that can be hosted either in a sandbox environment or locally. Let's run SmartMock. I'm executing the Java command. SmartMock is up and running. SmartMock offers 5 built-in APIs for streamlined integration. First is Deploy Contract API to set up the expected request structure, data types, and default response for an endpoint. Let's deploy contract for an endpoint, create account with a sample set of request data which holds string, integer, and a boolean of different data types, and the default response which is in a format of response message and a reference ID. Let's deploy the contract. As soon as we deploy the contract, SmartMock identifies the request structure and their data types and returns the same in response. And second is Service API. In this API, the endpoint is included as a path component in the URL to simulate real-time behavior. It validates the request structure and data types, and upon successful validation, it returns a response that matches the request conditions or defaults to a predefined response, which is configured for create account endpoint and the deploy contract API. Let's see a couple of examples like how Service API responds to invalid data types received in the request. Let's start by sending a string instead of a boolean and see how Service API responds. It identified isResident is expected as a boolean but received as a string. Let's try another example by sending string instead of integer and send integer instead of a boolean and see how Service API responds. It responded with the two errors. The isResident is invalid and age is invalid, which is expected as integer but received as string. IsResident is also expected as a boolean but received as an integer. Let's try another example by sending an additional parameter in the request, and the Service API clearly identified that an unexpected key last name in the request. This is a small feature with a big impact. By eliminating unused data chunks while processing high volume of requests, it helps companies save time, energy, and infrastructure overhead in large-scale systems. And third is Deploy Scenario API to define specific request conditions that return different responses based on the incoming data for an endpoint. Let's configure a scenario for create account endpoint where each resident is false and the response message is given as, instead of Sandeep, I'll change it to non-resident and with a different reference ID, and let's configure this scenario. A new scenario is being configured for create account, and let's try to access create account now. The same request which we tried earlier returned a default response where a name is given, and now let's try with a different value, false, and now the new response has come in like account is created successfully for non-resident. Let's change the age value to 35, and let's do configure another scenario for this 35, and let me update the scenario name as well, and the response message for the same. Let's do configure, and now let's go back to create account and hit the request with age 35. The response message says account is created successfully for non-resident of age 35, and let's try is resident as true now where no scenario is configured. Now the default response is returned. Now that we have explored the deploy contract and service APIs of SmartMock, let's look at how a real-time shopping app prototype can take advantage of SmartMock during development phase. The goal is to fetch the complete catalog list page by page based on the page number sent in the request to simulate and test the app's pagination behavior. Let's deploy contract for fetch catalog. The request, let's give current page to identify the page number, and in response give the product set and has more indicator to identify the presence of the next page. So I have a list of 60 products. I'm taking 10 of them for the page number 1, and let's configure the fetch catalog. The fetch catalog is done. Let's change the data type as integer instead of string. Yeah, done. Let's go and run the application. The catalog application is launched with the first set of items. As we have given has more indicator as false, there is only one page loaded. Let's try to configure scenarios now. For page number 2, let's give the scenario name as page 2 records for a page number 2, and take the next 10 records from the product catalog list and update the product list here. Let's configure. Yeah, page 2 records are configured for fetch catalog. Let's go back and run the application now. First page is launched. As we go to the end of the page, the loader should be shown, which is not showing now. Let's find out what is wrong with the response. Has more indicator is given as false, which stops the pagination request. So let's update it for both page number 1 and 2. Let's configure rest of the pages as well. Page 3 holds next set of 20 records. And page 4 holds another set of 20 records. In total sums up to 60 records of the catalog. And let's update has more indicator as false. for the last page so that no more fetch catalog APIs will be triggered from the application. So first page is launched. Yeah, now the second page is loaded. As we keep scrolling, the next set of pages keep getting loaded. You can see the pagination loader as well at the end of the page. Total 60 products are loaded as part of pagination responses. And fourth is fetch contracts API to retrieve either full list of deployed contracts or a specific contract for an endpoint. And the last one, fetch scenarios API to retrieve all scenarios or specific ones associated with a given endpoint. I hope the demo is pretty much clear. Please do find the details of SmartMark in GitHub in the comment section of this video. And if you do have any inputs, suggestions or feedback, feel free to share in the comment section of this video. In my next video, I will dive into another interesting topic on improving engineering efficiencies to boost quality, productivity and delivery in the software application development. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.